Hello, good afternoon. Today is October 14th, and my name is Krista Catano. I'm with Family Partners of Morris and Sussex Counties. Welcome to our Lunch and Learn program. We're very excited to have you guys here today so we can have lunch and learn with a local expert of resources and support available to everybody. Today we're very excited. Michael Pearson is here from the ARC. He is the Assistant Director of Children's Advocacy for the ARC of New Jersey Family Institute. So we're really excited to talk with him in a few minutes. He can share a little bit more about himself too. And we'd like to encourage everybody to try and keep yourself on mute so that there's no sound interactions. And then if you have any questions, you feel free to use the chat. Nate and I will be monitoring the chat, and we'll kind of hold questions to the end of the presentation, but we're happy to have them. We are recording today's presentation, so it'll be available afterwards. We will send out a follow-up email with any resources that Michael's going to share with us, as well as the slides. So you don't have to be worried about taking notes or anything. Everything we'll send out after today's presentation. So without further ado, I will turn it over to Michael. Thanks for being with us today, and we're excited to hear more about the ARC.
Yeah, thanks for having me. Really excited to be presenting today. I actually presented for the Morris and Sussex CMO a couple months ago. So my name is Michael Pearson Jr. I'm the Assistant Director of Children's Advocacy at the ARC of New Jersey Family Institute. I got my start in the field as a volunteer at the ARC of Monmouth County, and then came on the ARC of Monmouth part-time, then full-time, and then came to the ARC of New Jersey in 2017. I used to work for the Self-Advocacy Project, which is another program here, encouraging adults with intellectual and developmental disabilities to get involved in their communities, get out and vote, have more agency over their own lives as well. So I wanted to go over some details about each of the programs here at the ARC of New Jersey and how it could be beneficial for individuals with intellectual and developmental disabilities and their families. Okay, so we're just going to overview the supports and services that our agency provides. We'll talk about some of the issues that are facing individuals with IDD and their families as well. And we can talk about a little bit about some advocacy and ways that families and other people in society can kind of help people overcome those challenges. All right, so a little bit about our agency as a whole. We're the largest advocacy and service organization for people with IDD and their families. We were founded in 1949 by families, so we always want to make sure, so even still today on our board of directors, we still have family members. We still make sure that we never lose touch of the fact that we were founded by families. So we always make sure that they remain a huge part of who we are as an organization. We serve the entire state of New Jersey through local county chapters as well. So basically the way the structure of the ARC works is a lot of people think of us as the corporate office of the local chapters, but in reality, every chapter operates independently on their own, although we are affiliated under the same organization. So there's the national chapter, which does things on the advocacy level for federal legislation and national movement, things like that, where each state has their own statewide organization, which does the same on the state level. We also do offer some direct services though, but we mostly provide advocacy for things in state legislation. And then every county, with the exception of Bergen and Passaic, they share a chapter, has their own chapter. And they provide direct services like residential facilities, day programs, supported employment, children's services, things like that. So my program specifically is the Family Institute. So our director of this program is Lisa Ford. She's been in the field for a while now. She also was a teacher previously. So the Family Institute provides families with the necessary resources and education to access the appropriate supports and services for their loved one with IDD. We offer services through advocacy, education, resources, and community support. We do email updates, action alerts. We have a couple monthly newsletters. So we have the Family Advocate, which is our main program newsletter. And then since we have been getting so much exposure and so many families reaching out to us about special education, we ended up creating an entire special education newsletter itself called Table Talk. We provide individual advocacy through things like IEP meeting support, and can sometimes act as non-attorney advocates in an IEP meeting. We offer systems advocacy as well, like having a say in state legislation and things like that. And then we also offer resources like fact sheets. We have our go bags, which are a compilation of resources for specific topics. So you could check out a lot of that stuff on our website, which is thearcfamilyinstitute.org, and we'll make all the contact information available as well to everyone that's attending today. So like I was saying, we offer different workshops, webinars. So right now we have our Family Institute webinar series, which offers a lot of stuff about family supports. We offer a special education webinar series. We have fact sheets. We just released one specifically about the types of Medicaid available in New Jersey. So that can help you better understand what type of Medicaid you or a family member would be eligible for. It also includes some quick facts for each type, and then a link to how to get that Medicaid as well. Like I said, we have our go bags. We have navigation at a clip, which is pretty cool. So it was a way for us to make our resources a little bit more entertaining, but also accessible at the same time. So we take something like a fact sheet that could have a lot of information on it, and someone with a disability might be able to digest that information in a different way. So we basically have a video guide that goes through that fact sheet or other resource. We do Facebook Live events. Like tonight we have an event called Zoom with Us. So it gives people an opportunity to meet similar like this in a smaller group, to have more of an open conversation with a presentation rather than having it just be a slideshow. We do different things on social media, like Support Siblings Project, 5 Fast Facts for Friday. So a whole bunch of different stuff. We also have our college tours right now, which we did one in person for the first time in a couple of years. It felt nice to do that, but the other ones are going to be online as well. So if anyone has a relative or knows someone who's a student with IDD that is interested in college, there's a lot of different college programs at the community colleges in New Jersey. So they're definitely worth checking out and taking a look at our college tours. And all of our events are always free as well. So that's a plus. Okay. So like I said, you could check us out on Facebook, the Arc of NJ Family Institute. Please give us a follow on Twitter and Instagram, the Arc NJFI. Those are great ways just to stay in touch with us, to stay updated on anything we have going on. We'll always post the additional links to the newsletters and things like that on social media as well. Okay, so this is my boss's contact. That's Lisa Ford, lford@arcnj.org. You can reach her by email or telephone. So within the Family Institute, we do provide some children's advocacy, which is my bread and butter. That's my day-to-day. So we are dedicated to providing the resources and referrals necessary to navigate through the different children's systems, the different systems of care for individuals with IDD. For my day-to-day specifically is early intervention, children's system of care, and special education services. So early intervention, or EI for short, is for children birth to 3. We also offer our EI Go bag. So that's the one-stop shop for parents who need information about EI services. Evaluations are conducted for early intervention at no cost to the parent. And I can't stress this enough. If you or someone you know has a child who may have a developmental delay, but you're not sure, and they're under 3 years old, there is absolutely no harm in reaching out and getting an evaluation. You're much better off getting that evaluation, getting the child services that they need, because with such a small window, those services are really crucial to get them to the family before the child turns 3 years old. Now, once they turn 3, they can be referred to the Children's System of Care, or CSOC. So parents can do that by reaching out to Perform Care, which is the contracted administrator for the Children's System of Care. So normally CSOC is for ages 5 through 21, but if an individual has a developmental delay or developmental disability and they're under 5 and over 3, they can be eligible for CSOC. This is I put in bold at the bottom here because I get a lot of families reaching out to us asking a question similar to this. So for the Children's System of Care, either the parent or the child has to be a US citizen, but not both. So we work with a lot of families who are parents who may not be citizens, and they get worried that reaching out to the Children's System of Care, since it's technically under a state organization, that there's going to be questions about citizenship raised, but proof of citizenship is absolutely not required for this. So special education has been ramping up now that the school year started again as well. We have our IEP Go Bag, which I send to a lot of parents, that includes some tips on the parental rights and special education guide, frequently asked questions, some hints, things like that for prepping for an IEP meeting. And if families have questions about their child's IEP, or they need a little bit of assistance going through it, or would want help in a meeting, please let me know. If my schedule permits, I'm happy to attend an IEP meeting with you and help advocate for your child's education. So like I said, we offer those college chores. We have the IEP reviews. We also do advocacy for 504 plans, which is a little less common that we get a family reaching out to us for that. It's mostly for IEP stuff, but we can still help out with 504 plans. And then also for families that are moving to New Jersey or switching school districts, or families that would want an out-of-district placement, we can help with that as well. So again, in bold at the bottom, I put this because I always want to stress the fact that parents have the right to participate in developing their child's IEP. As a parent, you're a very valuable part of that IEP team. And you need to make sure that if you see something in the IEP that you're not really agreeing with, that you voice that in the meeting, because that's the time to do it. Nobody knows your child better than you do. So the school needs to know any insight and concerns that you may have about the IEP. Okay, and that's my contact info there, mpearson@arcnj.org, or you can reach me. That's my direct line, 732-246-4897. Okay, so now I'm gonna go into a little bit about the other programs here at the ARC of New Jersey. Mainstreaming medical care. This is if you have ever need assistance with Medicaid, anything Medicaid related, anything healthcare related, this is the program you want to reach out to. They provide information and advocacy regarding SSI, Medicaid, healthcare for people with IDD. Beverly Roberts is the director of this program. She is our Medicaid guru. Beverly knows everything there is to know about Medicaid. She's my office neighbor as well, so anytime I have questions about Medicaid, I always reach out to Beverly. A little bit about SSI. Apply at age 18 because Social Security views people with IDD as adults at age 18, and the parent's income is disregarded. So when SSI starts, Medicaid will start automatically, and that would make a person eligible for DDD services. So once they turn 21, they'll be eligible for DDD. Under that, under 21, they would be served by the Children's System of Care. Okay, so often persons with high functioning autism are turned down for SSI. So there is another way to get Medicaid, which are outlined in the fact sheet that we developed, and that's going to be available and sent out in the email after the presentation as well. Okay, so occasionally 18-year-olds with IDD who already has Social Security income because a parent retired, became disabled, or passed away. A lot of times these individuals are not eligible for SSI just because of the income level. So our advocacy with DDD, we established a process for these persons to have Medicaid known as non-DAC. So this process is an exception to the DDD policy that requires Medicaid before applying for services. So if an individual, for whatever reason, doesn't fit into the income limits for applying for Medicaid to get DDD, they may be able to get a non-DAC status, which would allow them to still get those services. It's important to know also that during the coronavirus pandemic, nobody should be terminated from Medicaid. If you get a letter from Medicaid saying that your services are going to be terminated, please reach out to Beverly Roberts. I'm going to give her contact info as well. Okay. All right, so if SSI is terminated due to unemployment insurance, the individual will need to apply for Medicaid and complete the new application. Okay. All right, so the next program is the New Jersey Self-Advocacy Project. I used to work for this program a couple of years ago. The Self-Advocacy Project was established in 1983. It assists people with IDD to develop advocacy skills through self-advocacy meetings. So they break down the state into different councils and then also support local self-advocacy meetings. Trainings, virtual programming. They have a whole healthy lifestyles project that they work on now, which is pretty cool. They do different advocacy events. They just had their annual conference this past Saturday. So that was a huge event for them. And then legislative advocacy campaigns and voting. So they do a big push every year for people to get registered to vote and do a lot of education surrounding voting rights for people with disabilities. So like I said, they break down the state into 5 councils. Excuse me. So this basically makes up what's called the New Jersey Statewide Self-Advocacy Network. So that's regional councils, and then also makes up a statewide council called the Advisory Board. So each council has elected officials, and then those elected officials make up the Advisory Board. Okay, so like I said, they have their Stay Healthy at Home webinar series under the Healthy Lifestyles Project. Those are Tuesdays at 2 p.m. A lot of that information is on our calendar on our website, where you can register for the events. Like they'll do yoga, they'll do healthy relationships, different exercise classes, things like that. So yeah, a lot of exciting stuff going on for people with disabilities under the Self-Advocacy Project. On the left here is just a list of some of the trainings that they have. They do things like training for aromatherapy, first aid, better sleep. They did ones on the census back in 2020, voting, boosting self-confidence, the ADA. So they do a whole variety of different things, from legislation to exercise and self-confidence. So it's really, really quality stuff. Okay. So this is just the weekly breakdown of what they have to offer. They do meditation Mondays. On Tuesdays, they do the Stay Healthy at Home. Wellness Wednesdays, the Healthy Lifestyles Project Live. So those are like the yoga classes and things like that. Thursdays, they do like virtual board games and things like that. They do the Healthy Foods Friday as well. And then on their YouTube and social media, they'll have video recipes and different options. So again, you can check them out on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook. Their YouTube channel is really active also. And if you want to contact them, their director is Ashley Ritchie. She's the director of the Self-Advocacy Project. Her email address is aritchie@arcnj.org. That's her direct line there as well. And then their website is njselfadvocacyproject.org. The Criminal Justice Advocacy Program, which we just got a new director for, Robin Holt. They provide alternatives to incarceration and case management for people with IDD in the criminal justice system. They also provide information to attorneys and the judiciary system about people with IDD. They assist probation and parole by locating and securing services in the community and helping to ensure compliance. They were also very much involved in a cadet training program under the State Police of New Jersey. So since 1985, this has been the only program in the state and only one of a few in the country that assists people with disabilities with criminal justice assistance. So they don't provide direct services. So for example, we don't have a team of attorneys to represent people, but they can create personalized justice plans that can help refer individuals to legal services and get them set up with different options. Okay, so they also provide technical assistance and education to professionals, families, and clients. They have a webinar series called Equal Justice Talks. So people ask, why criminal justice advocacy is needed. And as with the general population, most people with IDD are law-abiding citizens, but in some cases, people do get involved in the criminal justice system. But individuals with IDD face a greater risk of involvement as either the defendants or victims and witnesses, and are very much overrepresented in the justice system. So as many as 40% of people in county jails have some form of a disability, and at least 10% in prisons. So this program provides case management for individuals with IDD. They provide personalized justice plans. They do trainings and education for law enforcement, the courts, prosecutors, defense attorneys, basically trying to bridge the gap between social services and justice systems. Okay, so you can reach out to the Criminal Justice Advocacy Program at the number listed below or by emailing cjap@arcnj.org. And this is the new director, Robin Holt, just joined us this week. Planning for Adult Life, or PFAL for short, is a statewide project funded by the New Jersey Division of Developmental Disabilities, DDD, to assist young adults between 14 and 21 in charting a life course for adulthood. So they offer things like post-secondary education, employment, housing, legal, financial planning, entitlement programs and eligibility, self-direction, health and behavioral health, building and maintaining community ties and friendships, planning and visioning a life course. So this is all about transitioning into adulthood. Their strategy is broken down into 5 points: get a team, get information, get a plan, get going, and get feedback. So the plans are ever evolving, right? So if you have if you have people in your life and they're saying, oh, giving you feedback on your plan, you can constantly be updating that. So they have the Making Action Plans for Life and Career, which is the MAPS Club. So these are kind of like a class setting. You have transition navigators meet with student classes in the school twice a month. There's peer-to-peer discussions, formal presentations. individual activities based on transition curriculum, and these are offered in person or virtually. They also do the community exchange tours, where area employers host like half-day information sessions and visit 8 to 12 students at a time, also available virtually. So creating a transition plan portfolio under this program provides a visual history of the student, a way to self-advocate, communicate to a day program, employment, or other providers, and it acts as a training tool in a permanent and meaningful manner. So they're also offering a webinar series every Wednesday. Webinar Wednesdays once a month, sorry. And you can register for those on the Planning for Adult Life website. They're all archived and recorded as well. So these are just some of the topics that they have for their webinar series, like future planning, natural supports and services, college options, supported employment, SSI and Medicaid, housing, and self-advocacy. They also offer the Compass, which is their monthly newsletter. Jerisa is the director of this program. Really does a great job. Definitely reach out to Jerisa if you have any questions about transition. Okay, so Project Hire is our supported employment program. It's the largest and oldest provider of supported employment in the entire state. So Project Hire participants are referred to us either by DVRS, DDD, or school districts. All the services are completely individualized as well. There's no one size fits all for individuals looking for employment. So they offer job placement services, job coaching services. They can help by answering any supported employment questions, do supported employment outreach as well. They offer webinars and training. Adam Kubler is the director of that program. You can reach him at akubler@projecthire.biz, and his number is 732-246-7605. Training and Consultation Services, or TCS for short. So this program provides staff training and technical assistance to supported employment agencies, support coordinators, self-advocates, families, and schools. Wes is the director of this program. When I was at the Arc of Monmouth still, I attended a conference and I saw Wes speak before I even knew him. And he was doing a presentation about supported employment, and I just thought he did a great job. Ended up being his coworker now. So they are a DDD approved provider of professional development training. So a lot of the ARC local chapters and a lot of community-based organizations will reach out to this program to have them come in and do training for their staff. Some of the topics include job training, job development, documentation and record keeping, communication, team building, management and program structure, and accreditation. So the trainings can be offered in a variety of settings. Sometimes if you have a large number of staff, you can come in and he'll do large classrooms, smaller groups, one-to-one consults as well. And of course, these trainings can be offered in person or online. And this is Wesley's contact information. You can reach out to him at wanderson@arcnj.org or 732-609-7022. So I just put all of the contact information for the different directors on this page just to have it all in one place, make it a little bit easier. So if you get a copy of the slides and you don't want to go through all of them to find the information, you can just go right to this end page here. Yeah, so I'll open it up to questions if anybody has any questions.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Michael. There are a ton of resources and contact information in there. So I definitely just want to remind everyone we'll be sending out a copy of the slides and this video recording. I have seen a handful of questions in the chat. So I'm gonna jump back to Paul. Do you want to ask your question? You're welcome to unmute, or I can read it from the chat.
Thank you. My son is 16 and a half. He's got Asperger's, and he's currently on Medicaid. He came to us through the foster system, so he's on Medicaid now, and apparently can stay in Medicaid for a period of time beyond his 18th birthday. I'm curious if you know how long that is, and then will he be able to qualify, or should we be applying for him for DDD at 18 so that he can continue with those services beyond his 21st birthday?
Yeah, that's a good question. So if he's on Medicaid, he would be able to receive Medicaid throughout his adult life. So you said he's 16 and a half. So you can't really apply for DDD just yet.
Right.
But definitely, get the documentation together and get all that started. So we have a go bag on our website, and it's the step-by-step process for applying for DDD. And in that go bag, it'll give you a list of all the documentation that you'll need for the DDD application. So even though your son's only 16 and a half, sometimes it's easier to just get it started so you're not scrambling to find all this documentation at the last minute.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
Awesome. I see Yolanda has her hand raised. Would you want to unmute and ask your question?
Yeah, certainly. So I had actually this morning I had a call with one of my clients, and she's 29 years old, and she has developmental disability, intellectual, verbal communication issues, and she does still need OT and some PT. But she doesn't have any resources available to her for getting out of the house and being in the community, whether it's a part-time job or some sort of socialization group. And the family is in desperate need to getting her connected to something. She is DDD eligible. But I was hoping that you guys can connect me with the right point of contact. She's in Morris County in Madison, New Jersey, to get her something. She does need some sort of support, and any guidance would be extremely appreciated.
Yeah. So I would say if you want like specific things, definitely shoot me an email, and I'm happy to put together a list of a couple different options. But just so I give you some answer right now, I would say reach out to the local chapter of the ARC of Morris County. They may have some stuff going on. They may be able to have her get set up with, if she's interested in like a recreation program, but also maybe look into the Self-Advocacy Project, which is one of our programs. Right now, they're doing everything online, but in the future, as things start to open up, they do a lot of outdoor events like nature hikes, in-person yoga, a whole bunch of different outings. So they're definitely worth checking out as well.
Is your email on here? Because I didn't get that part.
Yes, my email is mpearson@arcnj.org. So it's over to the right side of the screen.
We can put it in the chat too, so you can just copy it. I'll work on that.
That would be better. Thank you.
Also, while we're working on that, a couple people have been interested in the different support groups and the different like webinar series. Is there an age range for that? And how do they go about signing up for any of those?
Great question. So for our webinar series, we try to make sure that we don't focus too much on having a single demographic as the audience. So all of our webinars are open for people of all ages. They're open for people with disabilities, family members, professionals in the field. We try to make sure that our webinars can be viewed and accessible to to anyone. So all of our webinars are on our website, thearcfamilyinstitute.org, and we have a bunch of stuff going on. So I mean, both series just started. So we have our special education series, and then I think the next one, we just did one on children's system of care. I think the next one of our Family Institute series is about planning for a future. So like ABLE accounts and special needs trusts, things like that.
Awesome. I did see someone mention the mindful meditations. Is that through, which group was that through?
That's through the Self-Advocacy Project. Yeah, Meditation Mondays, I think they call it.
And then I see, Curry, did you have any question you'd like to ask?
Yes, please. I have a number of families where for some set of circumstances, they were not advised to apply for DD services before they turned 18.
Okay.
So now we have this population where they're 18, 19, and 20, and they desperately need services for vocation, socialization, just something productive to do during the day. And I don't really know where to send anybody.
Okay.
We're kind of in a holding pattern. What is available? How can I help them?
So if they're under 21, they would get services through the children's system of care. I would have them, I would have them call Perform Care, and they might be able to get set up with, it's a little far away, but like summer camp or other respite programs. But
Okay.
even though they didn't apply for DDD at age 18, they can still apply. That's not a problem at all. We just recommend that people apply at 18. So what ends up happening is when an individual is 18 and they apply for DDD, they get referred from DDD. It's a convoluted system. They get referred from DDD back to the children's system of care. But you can still, you can still apply for DDD. It's not a problem.
That's kind of what we're dealing with. Is we're dealing mostly with DVRS. So the only resources we've gotten that's been able to help a lot of our kids. So I thank you. We'll keep plugging away.
I would have them reach out to Perform Care. The way for them to get set up with it is really easy. It's just that their main hotline number, the number's open 24/7. And so they may be able to get some like respite services.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Yeah.
All right, we've got a couple more. Great information coming. The Self-Advocacy Project, the groups, is there any age limit on that, or it's over 18 and up?
Over 18.
Okay, awesome. And then we've got another one. Paul, feel free to jump in too, but he asked, with high-functioning young adults that don't want to be seen as different or not normal, how does the ARC approach potential participants to those, like, away from those fears, and how can we encourage them to engage in these kind of programs?
So I would have to recommend the Self-Advocacy Project again. So they do a great job of giving people opportunities to become empowered and have agency over their own lives. So one of the things that when I was with them and the director Asher used to always say is that people would say like, oh, they're giving a voice to people who don't have it. And that's not true at all. People have a voice. We would always like to say, we're just going to give people a microphone, right? So it's all about empowering individuals to make decisions about their own life, be more self-confident. The Self-Advocacy Project has a few really great webinars and trainings about self-confidence and building self-esteem. So I would definitely reach out to them. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to make sure that some of their information and materials get out to everybody also.
Krista, if I could follow on. So that was great and helpful, Michael, but really my concern is more about, the kid who doesn't want, let me put it this way. My son is very strong at self-advocating, right? Okay. But he will shy away from anything that he thinks is going to make him appear to others as not normal. right? So how do you as an organization or how do I as a parent approach him in a way that will engage him in these programs that he would benefit from?
Mhm. That's a good question. So as an advocacy organization that supports people with IDD and their families, our standpoint is never to really, we don't want people with disabilities to feel like they have to hide away or feel like they have to hide a disability. Disability is part of who somebody is, but it doesn't define who they are. So it's just one characteristic of something that makes up an individual. I would recommend, there's a lot of like support groups and social groups out there that might be helpful in that scenario. You said, and if I recall correctly, you said that your son had Asperger's. Okay. What county do you live in?
Morris.
Morris. Okay. I know of a few Asperger's social groups that I've referred families to, and they said they've had a really positive experience there. So I'll see if I can find one in Morris County that I can refer you to.
Great, thank you.
Yeah.
Hi, I have one more question. For the self-advocacy project, can you guys put the link on the chat?
Yes.
And Jennifer, you have your hand raised. Did you want to unmute and ask something?
Yes, I did. So I too have a family member, and he's a family member, and he's in his 40s, and he does have he has some intellectual disabilities, and so he actually was thrown off of his medical and his oh goodness, what's it called? I think it's SSI, because he had attempted to work, right? Because he didn't want anyone to know that he had special needs. Now, meanwhile, he's always had them, right? And he had SSI, and so they threw him off and everything. And I didn't know how to help him, or what I could do, or where I could, how to really approach the situation, because it's a very sensitive subject, right? And I also do know he does need help with learning, how to do things like navigate a computer system, because the other thing is that he never learned how to read or write. So his reading and writing is very, very minimal, right? It's like maybe at a second grade level, I'm assuming. So I didn't know how to work that, and I apologize. I have puppies in the background.
That's okay. So New Jersey has something called NJ Workability. So it's another Medicaid option for individuals who are employed. I have information on it on the fact sheet, on the Medicaid fact sheet that I mentioned earlier. If you need specific help applying for NJ Workability, I would recommend reaching out to Beverly Roberts. Her contact information is on that fact sheet as well. She's the director of the Mainstreaming Medical Care Program. And as far as like the computer skills and things like that, once they have Medicaid and they are eligible for DDD, they can get a support coordinator and utilize the DDD supports program or the personal preference program. And they might be able to get, a service that would, or a support that would be, someone to come in and help them learn computer skills, or to be able to use goods and services funds to go to a computer skills class, that type of thing.
Okay, thank you so much. And that was on that that last thing, that last slide, right? With all the names and numbers.
Yes, I'll actually go back to it now.
I appreciate it.
I'm sorry, I have one question as well. For the NJ Workabilities, can you provide that link as well? Because I've heard of them, I don't know how they work exactly.
Sure.
And that, honestly, I don't know if you guys have any workshops on them or seminars or anything regarding that. But that would be like a really good thing to learn. I'm from a nonprofit, Northwest Cap, over in Morris County.
Okay.
And it would be helpful for me to know how that works to help others going forward.
Yeah, of course. What I'll do is I'll send Krista a copy of the Medicaid fact sheet that we developed that has the workability link and info on there. And then I'll also I'll put a link I'll send a link to Krista also that has the archived webinars from Mainstream Medical Care, and they may have one on workability.
Thank you so much. Yeah,
Of course.
Yolanda and I, we're coworkers, and the two of us, we both have the same goal to empower, and we appreciate you so much.
Yeah, of course.
Hi, I had a question and a comment, if I could.
Go for it.
Okay, hi, Krista, we're actually new coworkers. Melanie, I work at Family Partners, just started 2 weeks ago, but I also have 2 children, and one in the children's system of care and one who is now just applied for DDD. Number one, I heard of a family that is actually looking for support group for children aged 10. And I have had trouble finding something for children this young. So Michael, that would be my first question to you.
Okay. We have a list of different support groups for children and adults on our website. If they're in Morris County, usually
They are in Morris County.
I normally would refer people to the Family Support Organization for something like that, but we do maintain a list of other support
I am
groups.
The Family Support
No, I
Organization.
know. So that's why I was laughing. But we have a list of Facebook support groups as well. So if we're not able to find them, like a group setting kind of support, there might be a Facebook support group that's out there that works.
This family is looking for virtual.
Okay. All right. That might be even better then.
Would you be able to send that list, possibly a link to that list to Krista?
Yes.
Okay, and then the second thing I just wanted to say was actually a comment to Paul regarding high functioning, getting our high functioning young adults or youth involved when they don't want to appear different, because this is something I've had a lot of experience with, having a 22-year-old who is high functioning but really needs a lot of support and doesn't always want to. She said, well, I don't want to be lumped in with that. What has helped me, and this is just my experience, and whether it could help you in your situation or not, I wanted to just share, is when I have positioned that it's as much for them as it is for the other people in the group, that if they are a higher functioning individual, that they can be serving kind of as a peer mentor. Sometimes, even though that's not really the goal of my goal of my child attending some of these workshops, I really want her to get support, to get her to even, click on the link or agree. It used to be agree to go to the group. It was kind of using a little bit of my psychology on her. Well, that, you can be helping others. And then I don't even mention that she's going to get something out of it. Does that make sense?
It's a great idea. Thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you, everybody.
Yeah, thank you, Melanie, for that. And we would definitely, everything that Michael sends over to me, all the links and all the go bags and all those informations will come out in a follow-up email to everyone on here, and either later this evening or tomorrow sometime. So before the weekend, you'll get all these resources in your email.
I just want to say one last thing. I'm so thankful for everything that the ARC is doing. I also have a daughter with special needs. She's 12. She has developmental delays. So it's kind of it hits home when I hear a client going through something, and my daughter hasn't reached that stage of adulthood yet, right? She's only 12, but I know that someday that might be us, that we're going to be going through that as well. So I'm just really glad that you guys are there to lead the way, because if you're not there to lead the way, it kind of leaves a lot of families in the dark. So I just want to say thank you.
Yeah, and I think that's one of the most valuable things about the family support organizations is that new parents or parents of younger children can have the opportunity to meet parents who may have an adult son or daughter that have been there before and can provide insight. So it's just such a great system to have, a great support system to have the peers there, right? You learn from the older generation, and it always works out.
Watch who you're calling older, Michael.
Was there any other last questions or closing comments anyone wanted to throw out? I think we covered a lot here. Thank you so much, Michael, for coming. This information is so valuable, and it's great to have other providers as well on this call because I know these resources are just going to keep spreading and helping, and I think everyone has the same mutual goal. So I want to thank everyone for coming here today. Watch out for your email. We'll have the follow-up with all this information. And then I just want to let everyone know we're here every Thursday for noon, Lunch and Learn. This series, we have a whole bunch of different providers coming in. Next week, we have someone from Prevention is Key. The following week, we have someone talking about self-harm. So we have a lot of great topics and we look forward to these future presentations. So we hope to see you again. Thanks, everybody. Stay safe and have a great weekend.